He's pooping out eggs.
World record, here I come!
Dude, stop yapping, bro.
It's Herobrine!
People who cheat in their speedruns are hilarious because they're terrible at hiding the fact that they cheated. These are the funniest fake Minecraft speedruns. This speedrun starts off seeming a little legitimate. They've got a timer, everything's looking okay. They are starting off at an angle, which makes me suspicious. Well, the speedrunner looks around for a bit, and at that point, they locate a village, which is very, very lucky. The speedrunner does find an iron golem, but hang on a second, something here is a little fishy. They are hitting this iron golem, but it is not fighting back. So what I'm curious about is, did they spawn in this iron golem with a spawn egg from creative mode? Nope, never mind. That is not the case. The iron golem starts running away and floating. How is this possible? And yeah, that's when the iron golem just starts pooping out tons of iron ingots, iron blocks, a wooden pickaxe, cobblestone, wood. What in tarnation is going on here? Then there is a very, very sudden cut, and the speedrunner finds themselves right in front of a blue flower bed. Yeah, this seems pretty suspicious to me. Well, they dig down, immediately revealing a very, very long hole. And at the bottom, oh, okay, that's not that bad. It's just some diamond ore, no big deal. Nope, never mind. That is a diamond throne with a pillager on top of it. The pillager starts tossing blocks of diamond at the speedrunner, as well as full diamond armor and tools. And after this happens, if you listen to the speedrunner's microphone audio, there is just so much going on. It sounds like there's two people talking at the same time.
Wow! This is a new feature in the game, in the new version 1.
Dude, stop yapping, what the hell are you yapping for?
I am so confused. Well, the speedrunner starts building back up to the surface with a diamond block, which is just the most cursed thing ever. There is another sudden cut. I don't know why, but now their experience bar looks like a rainbow. Good for them. And out of nowhere, there is a chat box pop up that says that Lands summoned a new lightning bolt. And in the sky, oh no, is that Herobrine in a cat costume? And if you listen to the audio, oh my goodness, did he just say, yo, this is the cat brine?
Herobrine!
Yo, this is the cat brine. No, it's the cat brine, bro.
Well, Herobrine in a cat costume drops obsidian blocks, floats away into the distance, and then if you just listen to the speedrunner talking, they sound so foreign, which for some reason just makes this more entertaining.
Thank you, Herobrine, from the PP land. Thank you. So I should make the nether.
I'm sorry, did he just say I shall make the nether? Well, the speedrunner ends up making their nether in a really strange shape. Whatever. They enter the nether at a world record 3 minutes. Totally legitimate. Unfortunately though, as soon as the speedrunner enters the nether, there is like 5,000 ghasts just going at it, shooting at the speedrunner, and the audio from this clip is hilarious.
Bro, don't Bro!
Was that the notification sound from a Nokia phone? What in tarnation? Well, yeah, after a very sudden cut, their timer has been reset back to a minute. The chat says set own game mode to survival. These guys are just terrible at cheating. Well, the speedrunner is just kind of hanging out in front of this piglin, at which point they break some netherrack and the piglin falls into the hole. But, hang on a second. How in the world is that piglin holding the block of netherrack? Oh no, don't tell me this is their friend again. Well, the speedrunner throws a diamond block at the piglin. Then the piglin starts throwing ender pearls and blaze rods at the speedrunner. The speedrunner is just pooping out so many blaze rods, and you can just hear them screaming in their microphone, is this enough? Is this enough?
Dude, is this enough? Is this enough? Is this enough?
After this very lucky interaction with a very legitimate piglin, the speedrunner turns around and they find a nether fortress, at which point their friend just put themselves into spectator mode. I'm sorry, but you couldn't have just, oh, I don't know, turned off the chat log? So the speedrunner uses their ender pearl to go into the nether fortress, at which point you can hear another phone notification sound. There's just so many of those sounds throughout the speedrun. I refuse to believe that this man actually has a Nokia phone. Oh my gosh, I feel so stupid. I've been calling it the Nokia phone sound. That's just an Android phone sound. Whatever, Android, Nokia, it's all the same. Anyways, the speedrunner is in the nether fortress, even though they have as many blaze rods and ender pearls as they could possibly need. At this point, you can see that their friend has clearly taken on the role of a blaze. They're floating around like a goofy goober and they start spawning just a bajillion blaze. The speedrunner is on half a heart. There is a very sudden cut where their timer goes back to 1 minute again. It's very clearly obvious that they died and they tried to cut it out. The text log says up there. I am scared to find out what's gonna happen next. The speedrunner starts running away from the Nether Fortress. Again, their friend as the blaze is just shooting across the screen. This is just so goofy. The speedrunner starts getting hit by a piglin again. They're almost about to die. Then there is another sudden cut, and in front of them is a ghast just hanging out, chilling there in front of them. And my first guess is that this ghast is their friend. These next few moments are so unbelievably hilarious. Their friend as the ghast just starts spamming billions of ghast spawn eggs. It is so funny. After nearly dying, there's another sudden cut. There's a nether portal that's lit right in front of them. Unfortunately though, they take such a long time trying to get into the overworld because this one piglin will just not give up. When the speedrunner finally does get into the overworld, their game is so beyond glitched. All you can see is a few grass blocks, the sun, and the moon. Their friend leaves the game, their friend joins back into the game. The speedrunner then tells us that they're going to just throw a pearl, and there's a new feature with a new command. Well, surprise, surprise, they do not end up throwing the ender pearl. Their timer resets back to 17 seconds, and then out of nowhere, they're just suddenly in the stronghold with the most obnoxious music playing in the background.
Alright, here you go, here you go.
The command worked.
Yes, of course it did.
Okay, we now just need to find this stronghold. I mean the end portal.
Woohoo, the command worked. Good for you. The speedrunner wastes just so much time trying to find the portal room. They run into Herobrine in a cat costume again, and after wasting so many minutes of my life that I will never get back, there is a cut where they're just magically in the portal room. Thank God. The speedrunner then begins crafting Eyes of Ender, even though they already have Eyes of Ender in their inventory. So the speedrunner begins filling the portal with eyes, but there is the most unexpected plot twist of all time.
Hello, boy, hey, it's me, emo guy.
Yeah, that's right. The speedrunner was graced with the presence of Emo Guy, the newest feature of Minecraft 1.21. I cannot believe it. Yeah, the speedrunner is given creative mode by Emo Guy. Oh my goodness, how lucky. And both of their reactions is just so hilarious.
Oh my god.
There you go.
Thank you. Really, thank you. Oh my god. Oh my god.
The speedrunner is in the end. Emo Guy dies trying to swim in lava. The way that this speedrunner beats the game, you will never believe it.
Okay. Yes! I beat
I have to go, bro.
I beat the Ender Dragon, guys.
I'm sorry, but just floating around in creative mode at 2 minutes, using a /kill command to beat the game, followed by the Android notification sound, and their friend saying, I have to go, bro, and logging off of Discord is just the funniest series of events ever. You cannot convince me otherwise. And yeah, just like that, the speedrunner beat Minecraft at a world record 2 minutes and 17 seconds. Never mind, their speedrunner is starting again at 0. And just like that, 0.92 seconds. Holy cow. This speedrun is funny. This speedrun is fake. It's also gonna be the most infuriating experience of your entire life. They are in creative mode, and I am trying to figure out why at the top right of their screen it says remaining time an hour and a half. There is only one way we're gonna find out. The speedrunner climbs up this snowy mountain. They go back down, opening up the chat log, showing a lot of nonsense. Locating a village, teleporting themselves, suffocating in a wall, giving themselves a diamond sword, screenshotting by accident, keep inventory is on, setting the world spawn, giving themselves a tropical fish. What in tarnation? They've already been in the end? Alright, I am really on the edge of my seat now. They put themselves back into survival mode and climb back up this snowy mountain, at which point they enter a blacksmith house, and inside is a sign on the wall above a very obvious hole that says dig down random person. Again, what in tarnation? They open up the chest in front of them, and inside is a diamond sword, a tropical fish with the enchantment sharpness 255, and netherite boots. So they equip their new boots holding this enchanted tropical fish, and they just say, you know what, to heck with it, I'm gonna go down this hole. At the bottom of this hole is very clearly the end portal, and it's lit. And you know what, maybe it's a 1 in a billion chance of this actually happening, but let's just give them the benefit of the doubt here. They spawn into the end, but their momentum carries into the next dimension, and they die from fall damage. So the speedrunner respawns, at which point it is revealed that they are playing Minecraft demo mode. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be the first Minecraft world record in demo mode. Guinness, get the plaque ready. Well, the speedrunner still has their inventory, so they go back up the mountain, back down into the hole. They by accident fall on a ledge, so back down the hole, and they die again. This has to be a joke. So the speedrunner respawns, and before they go back down that hole, they start breaking an oak plank. Text pops up on the screen saying big brain. I don't know what they are planning, and I don't think they know what they're planning either. They put the oak plank down, they stand on top of it, and now they're breaking it. So they break the oak plank, they never get an opportunity to pick it back up again, and they just fall right back down the hole, dying again. There is a goofy Windows Movie Maker effect on the screen, and the speedrunner is typing into the chat box a command that will give them resistance, which I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that is not gonna do a single thing. Lather, rinse, repeat here, fellas. Back up the mountain, back down the hole, tropical fish, and wait a second, I'm actually pretty surprised here. They survive. So yeah, just like that, the speedrunner is now in the end with 1 hour and 20 minutes left, which should be just enough time for them to beat the Ender Dragon. And they're gonna need all the time they can get, because they waste so many minutes just staring down at Endermen, provoking them, and then using the tropical fish on them. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The speedrunner uses this tropical fish to defeat the Ender Dragon, and they beat the game in demo mode. I honestly thought this speedrun was just so stupid, I had to show it to you. This speedrun, everything seems very normal. Nope, never mind. What in the world are they spawning into? Yeah, they say wrong world, and then there's just a sudden cut into the next loading screen.
Oh shit, wrong world.
So the speedrunner spawns into the correct world, in a village, very lucky, but hang on a second here. They don't have a full hunger bar, so this is clearly fake. Oh, and man, what kind of sounds is the speedrunner making in their microphone? That is nasty. Well, they walk forward, entering a village house, and inside there is some believable loot. Yeah, the math checks out. This chest could be legitimate. So they get a diamond pickaxe, iron ingots, 12 obsidian, an iron sword, some bread. Things are off to a very legitimate and kind of suspicious start. The speedrunner then proceeds to massacre the villagers in front of them. I don't know why. I think I spoke too soon, because the speedrunner proceeds to scream into his microphone, followed by a very sudden cut. Just watch this.
Hesitation. Alright, okay.
Yeah, the speedrunner is in a completely different spot, and now they start breaking the wood in front of them. There's another cut, and all of a sudden they have stacks of wood in their inventory. They open another chest, getting more iron, an iron helmet, more bread. The speedrunner then proceeds to use their iron bucket, then they just stop everything they're doing and just stand there like a goofy goober. And if you listen to their microphone, what in tarnation did he just say?
I just hit my balls.
Yeah, after that information that no one needed to hear, there's another cut, and the speedrunner is now in a duel with the Iron Golem, which leads to them dying to the Iron Golem. There is another sudden cut. They have everything back in their inventory, and I guess the speedrun must go on. The speedrunner is this close to dying to the Iron Golem again until he bribes the Iron Golem with Chipotle. What in tarnation?
Yo, I'll buy you Chipotle, okay?
Somehow he does kill the Golem though. Good for them. So the speedrunner creates their nether portal, lighting it and entering the end. And holy cow, the speedrunner gets very unlucky, then very lucky. As soon as they spawn into the nether, they're just getting blasted by ghasts, and they are on fire. So they run away, and they manage to survive with half a heart left. How lucky. And their reaction to that series of events is just so goofy. Things just get so much worse though. With literally 2 hearts left and no food, the speedrunner decides to just do all this crazy extreme parkour that they are not going to survive. And as soon as the speedrunner dies, there's some sort of weird video edit where the speedrunner is just muttering under their breath, "Life could be a dream, life could be a dream."
Life could be a dream. Alive because bitch. Whistling mode.
And suddenly we are back to the speedrun. They're back in the nether like nothing ever happened. This is such a fever dream. By some miracle, the speedrunner is still alive. Still though, I don't get it. This speedrunner is just like a cat thinking he has 9 lives. The goal here in a speedrun is to find a fortress, find a bastion, but instead they decide to do this crazy bone meal clutch, and holy cow, they actually do it. The downside to this is that they clutched onto a platform that is full of aggressive piglins. The speedrunner gets hit off a ledge, and then before they can even die, there is another cut. What in tarnation? The speedrunner has a freak out in their microphone. It happens a second time, and on the third time when the Enderman teleports, there is this ridiculous cut with ender pearls all over the ground. What in tarnation?
Let's go! Yes! Pearls!
I don't know what just happened there. The speedrunner got very excited about how many ender pearls were just hanging out on the ground, and they by accident put a bed down, killing themselves. Then there is another sudden cut where they're just in a nether fortress. I have so many questions. Again, the speedrunner says, I just need some blazes. They turn around, there's a blaze. I gotta put this in slow-mo. The speedrunner kills that blaze, and then there is this ridiculous cut with blaze rods on the ground in front of them, even though the blaze they just killed didn't drop a single rod. It's at this point where the speedrunner just needs to locate their nether portal to return to the end. Unfortunately though, they find themselves with 2 hearts, and they're killed by a ghast. They respawn back into the overworld with all of their items still in their inventory, so they must have turned keep inventory on at some point. But even though they respawned into the nether, there's another cut. The items in their hotbar changes. I am so thoroughly confused. The speedrunner must have crafted an Eye of Ender behind the scenes. They throw it up, it goes up into the air, and then you can hear them say, yes, it goes down.
Let's see it. Yes, it goes down.
Buddy, it went up. It did not go down. So they begin digging down. And while the speedrunner is digging down, I just realized they have their position coordinates displayed at the top left of their screen, which is literally like holding up a flag, putting a target on his head saying, I am a cheater. Genuinely, I'm not even sure what's going on here anymore. They are digging down for such a long time until there is a very sudden cut. And if we look back at that position coordinate at the top left, you can see that they actually had to dig back up. They were at Y39, now they're at Y58. They literally dug down too far and had to cut it out of the speedrun. This is embarrassing. Nope, never mind, because the portal that they found is just some goofy thing that they constructed. This is not a real stronghold. Sorry to burst your bubble. They cut out the loading screen. Again, another cut. Holy cow, their game audio is so loud, headphone users be warned. The dragon literally sounds like a nuclear bomb exploding.
Bridge big.
At this point, I have so many questions. The speedrunner is using some sort of ancient taekwondo methods on the dragon. They're throwing snowballs at its head. What in the world is going on? They drop lava on its head. They put a bed down. It disappears. Their plan is not going well. So they put their final bed down, exploding everything in proximity, and they die. At which point, they have a freak out in their microphone, and the speedrun is over.
Yo, what? No! No!
What in tarnation? This speedrun has these goofy text animations on the screen. That is not a good sign. Their world legitimately takes forever to load, but when it does load, we are greeted by the world's most ginormous joystick overlay. Oh brother, are they playing on an iPad? Wow, so lucky. The speedrunner spawns at an angle right in front of a blacksmith. Hang on a second though, why are they walking away? Oh, never mind. They go back to the blacksmith, entering the house, opening the chest, finding the world's goofiest items of all time. Enchanted elytra? What in tarnation? A spyglass, tridents, that silly little turtle cap. But the speedrunner only takes the shield, the elytra, and the fireworks. What in tarnation? Wait, did they just go in a full circle? Nope, hang on, never mind. They exit that blacksmith house and enter another blacksmith house right next to it. I don't even think this is possible. Guys, I could have missed an update, but I thought it was usually one blacksmith per village. Correct me if I'm wrong. Well, they opened this chest, and how convenient. They get full netherite gear and 64 levers. I have no idea what they are gonna do with those levers. I kid you not, this has to be some sort of practical joke. I am being punked right now. They enter a third blacksmith house. I know this is not possible. They open the chest. More goofy, ridiculous, unrealistic fake items. Why would anyone need this many diamond blocks? I don't know. But the speedrunner really shows off their skill and agility by just wasting so much time, being unable to organize blocks in their inventory. This is laughable. The next few moments is just such a what in tarnation kind of moment. I have so many questions. They go into another villager house with their stacks and stacks of netherite ingots, only to upgrade their diamond gear to netherite. Buddy, you put the most unrealistic items in these chests. Why didn't you just, oh, I don't know, give yourself netherite gear in the first place? Upgrading diamond to netherite is not gonna make this look legitimate. With their very legitimate and newly found all netherite gear, they approach this iron golem, just spam clicking the crap out of it, and they're so good they don't even need the iron ingots. Yeah, you show them who's boss, buddy. The madness does not end though. They enter another blacksmith house. How is this possible? And inside, command blocks. Oh my goodness. The text on the screen says, "Wow for blacksmiths." Buddy, just my 2 cents. Learn how to cheat at speedrunning and learn how to spell. And I just noticed now, holy cow, there is a ruined nether portal in the distance. Someone tell me, what seed is this? I refuse to believe that this is a real legitimate seed. They approach the ruined nether portal. Everything's looking good. You know what? Maybe they can redeem themselves here. But they open the chest and they were so blatantly obvious. Smack dab in the middle of the screen. So much gold, so much obsidian. These next few moments just get worse. This has to be some of the most inefficient speedrunning strategies I've ever seen in my entire life. Wait a second, why are they walking away from the ruined nether portal? Yeah, they're getting flint in the most inefficient and slow way possible. I would be more entertained watching paint dry. Then they waste all this time returning to where they killed the iron golem to get the iron. Why you didn't pick it up in the first place, I don't know. Returning back to the nether portal, filling it in, and lighting it. So the speedrunner enters the nether, and there is literally nothing here. It is barren. Until there is a hilarious and shamefully obvious cut. The speedrunner's walking around like, oh yeah, nothing's different here. They get a notification for WKRG news. What is that? I have no idea. Buddy, you're speedrunning. Just disable the notifications. And they find a barrel. The icing on the cake is how they move their screen around like, whoa, oh my goodness, what? Inside this barrel, 16 ender pearls. How convenient. Well, I guess the speedrunner just doesn't need blaze rods because they literally leave the nether. I honestly would not be surprised if they had to return back to the nether because they realize, oh, whoops, I need blaze rods. Nope, never mind. I just noticed something. Do you notice it? When did the speedrunner get 2 stacks of blaze powder? I have no idea. I'm gonna have to rewind this and figure out when that happened. Well, they make their eyes of ender, throwing one up in the sky. The speedrunner gets another notification for a 6-day countdown timer. Yeah, you're gonna need that timer with how slow you're speedrunning this game. The speedrunner picks a completely arbitrary and random block to dig down into and just, oh, I don't know, take a wild guess what's about to happen. Yeah, they dug down maybe, what, 10 blocks? And they're suddenly just in the portal room. This guy may be slow as molasses, but he has pretty good memory. Again, I'd have to rewind and see if there was like a flower on the ground that indicated to them that's where they dig down. So the speedrunner fills the end portal with eyes. Wait a second, why are they building back up? And why did they get a notification for cutest puppies city? These puppies are so adorable. See what they are doing, cute puppies. Well, now I'm kind of curious. I kind of want to watch the cute puppies. All right, guys, it's been an hour. I got kind of distracted by the cute puppies, but we're back to the speedrun. And drum roll, please. You are never gonna believe it. The reason the speedrunner returned to the surface was for a command block. What in tarnation? Boom, another notification. Whoever in the world Chef BB is, they made a delicious fruit juice. Oh, brother. I do not care about fruit juice. I just want to see the speedrun. Another notification. Spaceship colonized Mars and spaceflight simulator. This is not important. The speedrunner again shows off their extreme agility and skill, being a total goofy goober digging down, and they jump into the end portal, entering the end. And the story really goes full circle here. With no shame whatsoever, the speedrunner puts themselves into creative mode, putting their command block down and getting those levers from earlier. Oh my gosh, I thought I'd never find out what the levers were for. Even though I'm pretty sure you don't need a lever to make a command block work, but I am thoroughly surprised. This has to be the one and only speedrunner who actually knows how to use a /kill command. So they put their lever down, activating the command block, beating the game. Even though they did not need to go into creative mode for any of that. Well, they're back in a survival mode. They are bridging to the end island in the slowest and most painful way possible. Again, I really think we could just put in paint drying on the screen and we'd be more entertained than the speedrun. The speedrunner puts in all this energy and they almost die. I guarantee they have already wasted 5 minutes just trying to build over to the end island. Again, this has to be someone trying to prank me. Is this real? The speedrunner creates their world and everything is looking normal. World creation seems legitimate. They're selecting the first slot. They're looking ahead. But hang on a second. As soon as they start moving, they are using a timer, not a stopwatch. Buddy, that's not how speedruns work. So the speedrunner spawns in what seems like the middle of nowhere. I'm not sure why, but they run around this tree. A little suspicious, but let's just roll with it. Well, nothing looks different. So the speedrunner jumps into the ocean and they're swimming. And would you look at that, straight ahead is a village. How lucky is that? So the speedrunner enters this village and everything seems very normal. But hang on a second. This house on the right, the door is already open. Totally legit. Inside this house, the speedrunner opens up the chest and they do find items that I believe to be legitimate. Some snowballs, an ice block, some seeds, some bread, a potato. But the speedrunner only takes the blue ice, the bread, and they break the bed. Then the speedrunner puts the blue ice down in a very specific spot. Weird, but okay. They go in another house, opening the chest and only taking potatoes, 2 emeralds, and they break this bed. They go in another house, take more potatoes, take more beds, more potatoes, more bread, another one, another one, another one, another bed, more bread, another bed. Hang on a second. This village is the size of New York City. How many beds are there? I'm trying to figure out why this speedrunner has wasted 3 whole minutes just collecting potatoes, bread, and beds. What is this guy, Dwight Schrute? Bears beats Battlestar Galactica? Anyways, I don't know if I'm being paranoid now, but the speedrunner enters this house. They go inside to upgrade gear, and I don't know if I'm overthinking it, but the top left slot has nothing in it, and then all of a sudden there is an icon present. Again, I don't know if I'm overthinking this. I could just be paranoid, but nothing seems fake about this speedrun yet. This guy has 13 beds. And if you look back at one of my older videos called Beating Minecraft the Right Way, I'm pretty sure there's footage in there of me once cycling the dragon with like 4 or 5 beds. You do not need 13 beds if you are speedrunning Minecraft. Just wait, it gets worse. Watch this next moment and tell me if you notice anything unusual about it. Rewind the video if you didn't notice it and try and take a better look. Yeah, that's right. If you look closely, there is a very sudden cut. The only indication is that the edges of the screen get slightly darker if I go frame by frame. Why, you might ask, there would be a sudden cut while this speedrunner is just collecting beds? Yeah, that's why. I think this guy is gonna make the American flag out of beds. Now again, watch these next few moments and tell me if you notice what's going on here. Yeah, that's right. If I go frame by frame, there is another very sudden cut. Going from the last frame to the next, they're selecting a different slot on their hotbar. You can also notice a big skip in their motion forward. Well, genuinely, nothing looks different here. So I do wonder if this speedrunner was making unnecessary cuts to throw us off of their trail. I don't know. Well, the speedrunner approaches a very inconspicuous blob of coal ore on the ground, and they begin putting beds down in a very particular manner on this coal ore. And it's really tough to say what happens here because as soon as the speedrunner turns around, there is just a lit nether portal right behind them. What in tarnation? The only thing I can imagine is that if I go frame by frame, there is a very sudden moment where they are selecting a different slot on their hotbar. What I think is going on here is that this speedrunner is kind of like a sleight of hand magician. They're just doing all sorts of wacky stuff in front of us so that we're not paying attention to the real cheating that's going on here. Well, the speedrunner does enter the nether, and unfortunately where they spawn in is not so good. There is literally nothing here. So I genuinely don't know what the speedrunner is gonna do next. Wait a second, what in the world are they doing? Yeah, hang on a second. Did you see what just happened there? If I go frame by frame, we can very clearly see the particles in the air suddenly being in completely different areas, as well as them selecting, again, another slot in their inventory. And when they turn around, the nether portal is gone, and it's replaced by a chest and an armor stand with full netherite armor. Oh, brother, way to be obvious. So the speedrunner takes their spoils of war and they equip their full netherite armor, opening the chest, finding basically everything you would need to speedrun Minecraft if you're bad at the game. This is so goofy. Then the speedrunner tosses their bread and potatoes into the lava pit like, oh, you know what? I'm too good for you anyways. So the speedrunner begins digging out a hole to build the nether portal in. Even though that wastes tons of time, they could have just built the nether portal without digging out all of those blocks. But on the bright side, at least this guy knows what a rectangle looks like. So they use their fire charge to light the nether portal. And again, I'm just gonna assume you noticed what just happened here. Yeah, going frame by frame, the golden apples are gone and they suddenly have a water bucket. This guy literally has to cheat because he's not good at cheating. Just let that sink in. Well, the speedrunner walks around and they approach a very specific block and they begin breaking it, only to reveal a very, very long hole with water at the bottom of it. And would you look at that, it's the stronghold. And I have to point out how goofy it is that the speedrunner got an advancement for Monster Hunter, but they never got an advancement for, oh, I don't know, finding the stronghold, which essentially means 5 minutes into the speedrun, and that is the first time this player killed a mob. That is just sad. As if this couldn't get any worse, the speedrunner then begins to fill the portal with eyes in the most obscure way possible. 1, 2, 3, 5, 4, 8, 7, 10, 9, 11, 12. Oh my goodness. Do you not know how to count in order? Well, the speedrunner is in the end now, and they actually did get an advancement for that, which is good news. They tried a water bucket clutch onto the end island, and they failed doing so. But the speedrunner just never picks up their water again. Buddy, you made a whole elaborate series of cuts just to give yourself that water bucket. And for what? To fail the water bucket clutch? But here's the thing. They actually turn around as if like, oh, I need my water. And then they change their mind again, forgetting that they just put a block on the water source, getting rid of it. Well, when in the end, the speedrunner attempts shooting 2 of the end crystals with their bow and arrow, missing both of them. And then they suddenly start building this structure and digging down. Wait, hang on a second. What's going on here? Yeah, if I go frame by frame, the speedrunner suddenly has 31 more experience points, 2 less cooked chickens, 3 less golden apples, and a partridge in a pear tree. Yeah, who am I kidding? The Ender Dragon's health bar is gone. When the speedrunner digs up to the surface, there is just a pool of bath water hanging out on the end island. What is that? The Ender Dragon's jacuzzi? I don't know. And what really happened here? I don't know if we'll ever find out. Wait, yes, we will find out. Before the speedrunner enters the end game portal, they look up and what in tarnation happened up there? Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Buddy really built the Transcontinental Railroad on the top of the end island. And yes, just like that, the speedrunner beat the game in, I guess 7 minutes and 12 seconds. But if you factor in all the cuts and all the lost footage, it was probably about 3 hours. This speedrun is Gordon Ramsay. What? Yep, Gordon Ramsay spawns in a jungle forest. He is climbing up a tree. This man is a maniac. He gets this apple from the top of the tree, eats it, talks about how juicy it is, and then suddenly, don't ask me how, Gordon must have been in creative mode. He gets into a helicopter. Is he using mods? This is just shameless. Well, Gordon lands into a village. He probably needs beds to kill the dragon, right? Gordon steals a potato from a villager. Then all of a sudden, Gordon is going crazy. He travels down into a ravine by rope. Is rope even a thing in Minecraft? I can't believe that this guy is going into creative mode like this. And then all of a sudden, just like that, he finds himself in the stronghold. Come on, cutting footage out of your speedrun? Nope, never mind. It is not the stronghold. I have never actually seen this structure in Minecraft before. He finds a chest in this structure that has rotten flesh in it. He begins eating it. Gordon is so desperate, getting very, very sick. At this rate, he is not gonna get the world record. Don't ask me why, but he returns back to the village. Very strange speedrunning choice. He's crafting food, villagers and illagers are going at it, and then Gordon just flees the scene and runs away. Probably one of the worst speedruns I have ever seen in my entire life. Gordon Ramsay, you are an idiot sandwich. This speedrun truly is a breath of fresh air. Everything looks normal, except for this atrocious texture pack they are using. Dude, your hunger bar looks like corn dogs. Anyways, I'm not gonna complain because finally, the speedrun starts off normal for once. That is until there's like this hyperspeed video effect applied. There is no cut, so it's like, is this guy speedrunning as the Flash? I don't know. There wasn't a cut, so it's technically not cheating. The speedrun footage is sped up again. What in tarnation? And then they do actually find a ruined nether portal. The cheating just progressively gets worse. There is a sudden cut, and now we're just at the ruined nether portal. The speedrunner opens up the chest, and things do look normal. A fire charge, a golden apple, some obsidian, a golden sword, a golden helmet. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think all this stuff looks pretty normal. Now at this point, you might expect the speedrunner to, oh I don't know, fill in the ruined nether portal, light it with the fire charge, and enter the nether, right? Nope, wrong. The footage is sped up. They use their fire charge on the sheep, killing it to get cooked meat. So they pick up the cooked mutton until there is another cut. And after this cut, if you look to the bottom of the screen, what in tarnation is that obsidian doing on the ground? They still have 4 blocks of obsidian left over. So why is there just 1 obsidian hanging out on the ground? Well, you're about to find out very soon. They go back up the mountain, picking up an obscene amount of cooked mutton. Who is speedrunning the game right now? Queso? The speedrunner by accident puts down one of their obsidian blocks, wasting it. Then they start breaking down this tree, getting 4 oak logs, and there is another painfully obvious cut. After the cut, the speedrunner turns around, and wow, how convenient would you look at that. As many oak logs as you could possibly imagine. Gee, it's not like I haven't seen that one before. Real original. I am genuinely so confused. The speedrunner is running so far away from that ruined nether portal. They pick up some lilac, making magenta dye. Then they start throwing the magenta dye all around them in a circle. Now keep in mind, this speedrun does not have any audio, but I imagine if they had a microphone and we could hear it, it would be like that ridiculously goofy scene from episode 3 of The Acolyte. Well, the speedrunner must be performing some sort of incantation or chant or ritual, because there is another sudden cut, and their 3 obsidian turns into 64. How convenient. From this point onward, the speedrun is actually so mind-numbingly boring. Again, we could just swap this video with something like paint drying, and you really would not be able to tell the difference. I am giving you the highlights here. The speedrunner goes underwater, trying to dig up gravel. Have you never played Minecraft before? The footage is sped up, at which point they just put the block down, break it again, and finally they get some flint. There is another sudden cut. I genuinely have no idea what is different now. I'm honestly kind of scared. Hang on a second, did you just see that? They just broke some grass and there is iron on the ground. So yeah, just like that, the speedrunner has iron for flint and steel. So naturally, they begin creating their nether portal. Ooh, yikes. Don't worry, you could buff those scratches out. Nope, never mind, you are not gonna buff that scratch out. Well, luckily the speedrunner has enough obsidian to spare, so they start building another nether portal. And they're building up, and dude, it does not have to be this high. They do successfully create a nether portal and light it, but oh my goodness, that is just an abomination. Well, now that the speedrunner is in the nether, they just kind of roam around, wasting a lot of time. They by accident throw their sword on the ground, and then this next moment, I am just genuinely confused. I really need your help. Watch this clip and then tell me what in tarnation the speedrunner means. I genuinely cannot see anything wrong or anything happening here. But then the speedrunner just interrupts the footage with text on the screen saying 3 glitches in 1 run XO. What does that mean? 3 glitches? What were the glitches here? If you thought things could not get worse and even more confusing, they do. The speedrunner just wastes so much time placing obsidian blocks into lava in the most random way possible. They throw their golden apple into the lava, and there is this shamelessly obvious cut where the speedrunner suddenly has full diamond gear. So like, what am I missing here? Was that the glitch? If you want to know how I'm feeling right now, it's XO. Things just get so much worse. The speedrunner wastes so much time trying to traverse the nether. They're doing parkour with oak logs. That is literally like playing with fire. Can someone put on like circus music or like bad flute recorder music to the footage of them doing parkour like a goofball? While the speedrunner is exploring the nether like this, they fall into a pit of lava. At which point, I kid you not, I didn't do this edit. The speedrunner just put in this like 20-second montage of what appears to be a brain blast from Jimmy Neutron. We go back to the footage of Minecraft. They somehow don't die. And okay, we're back to traversing the nether. Wait a second, why did they stop bridging? There is another painfully obvious cut. And what in the world? They applied jump boost? This is not a good idea. Just put on the bad flute music already. Yeah, the speedrunner is jumping like hundreds of blocks high. This cannot be real. I refuse to believe that this is a speedrun that was submitted to speedrun.com. They fall back into the lava, they die, but there is literally 10 minutes left of this speedrun footage. What more could happen? Well, the speedrunner respawns, they are back in the overworld, and they have nothing. They waste a lot of time just picking up flowers, which really does not make a lot of sense to me, because what in tarnation would anyone do with that many dandelions? I'm sorry, did this guy just craft a blaze rod from dandelions? This is the most ridiculous Walmart level speedrun I have ever seen. It literally is just a PNG of a blaze rod, and then there is this painfully obvious cut where the overlay picture disappears and they just suddenly have 64 blaze rods. You really had us there for a second. There is another cut. The speedrunner clearly has given themselves some sort of status effect. And you know what? Why don't you just see it for yourself? Tell me if you notice what is wrong with these next few moments. Wow. Holy moly, that Enderman really dropped a lot of ender pearls. How convenient. So the speedrunner crafts 48 eyes of ender. Why so many? I don't know. Maybe they're just so good that they're gonna enter the end multiple times. Nope, never mind. I take back what I said. They just spam so many eyes of ender into the sky. For literally 5 seconds, the speedrunner follows the path of the eyes of ender until there is another cut. It's daytime, and the chat history says played sound, lightning bolt, thunder. And oh yeah, they're in creative mode. So boom, there's another cut. We're back in survival. We are so back. No, we are not so back. They have an elytra. What in tarnation? The speedrunner is flying in the sky using their elytra. There was another cut. They're playing more lightning bolt, thunder sounds, but this speedrun just has no audio to it, so I can only imagine what's really happening. Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention, they're in creative mode again. Nope, never mind. There's another cut. They're back in survival, and they have all these rockets, all this gear, at which point, I kid you not, the footage goes into hyperdrive mode, and this goober must have wasted 30 minutes trying to locate the stronghold. Finally, though, they catch a break. The eyes of ender are going down into the ground, so they start digging down. And halfway through digging down, they throw another eye of ender to confirm. Buddy, you have only been going straight down. It's not like the portal room changes. Nope, never mind. I take it back. Somehow they dug further down than the stronghold. How do you mess that up? So they dig back up, trying to find the stronghold. There is another cut. The thunder is back. They are in spectator mode. And if we look at the bottom of the screen, you can literally see the portal room at the bottom of the screen. I just think that's so funny. Well, they float on into the stronghold in spectator mode. There's another cut. They are not even trying to hide the fact that they are cheating. It says set on game mode to survive. Buddy, get a new editor. The speedrunner does find the portal room though, so they fill the portal with eyes, and they enter the end. They break one end crystal. They head for the next one. They're doing great until they die. And hang on a second, I just noticed now. What does it mean for an enderman to vroop? Is that even an English word? So I kid you not, the speedrunner respawns. They are at their lowest point right now. They open up the chat log. For one single frame, they type a slash, and the next frame, you know it, they have got so many hearts that it is literally obstructing my ability to analyze this speedrun. There is not really much more to it. Someone just put in like, oh, I don't know, more bad flute music, because they are just horrible at using rockets and traversing around to each end crystal. Between them being on fire and all of these hearts on the screen, it's impossible to see what is actually happening right now. All the end crystals are destroyed. The speedrunner is floating around in the sky with the dragon like a goofball, barely able to do any damage. At which point, I kid you not, the speedrunner literally put in this like 10-second clip from God of War. Is that even legal to put in memes into a speedrun on speedrun.com? I don't know. Well, it's very clear that there was a cut. The speedrunner was given strength. They beat the dragon, and instead of, oh, I don't know, completing the speedrun by jumping into the portal, they launched themselves into the void beneath the end island. There's another cut. They give themselves a milk bucket, drinking the milk, and then they die. Cheating or not, they literally didn't even technically beat the game. I honestly thought this speedrun was just so stupid, I had to show it to you. This speedrun, mentally prepare yourself to see this desktop background a lot, and you're gonna understand what I mean in just a few seconds. Right off the bat, the speedrun starts on the pause menu. They're using Lunar Client, and they are in creative mode. If this guy's goal was to speedrun getting banned, mission accomplished. So they run around for a while until they finally realize, oh wait, I'm in creative mode. So they go back into survival, and now the speedrun can commence. They traverse up this mountain and begin breaking this tree like any normal speedrun until they pause the game and you can hear them say that they're lagging.
Oh, I think I'm lagging.
Thus begins the desktop wallpaper and a lot of really weird noises. A whole minute goes by on their desktop, and when they come back to the game, it very clearly says that they gave themselves 120 oak logs. On top of that, they begin breaking this dirt block, and in this hole is a diamond pickaxe and an item frame and a nether portal. What in tarnation? Well, the speedrunner collects their spoils of war and they enter the nether. At this point, we realize their computer is very slow. So slow that it looks like they're in the purgatory dimension that Squidward got stuck in that one episode of SpongeBob. And as soon as the nether does load in, the speedrunner windows out again. 2 minutes go by. When they come back to Minecraft, you can still see the frame in their previous location, and the next frame is in a nether fortress. Why am I not surprised? So they're in front of a blaze spawner. They're still in creative mode, so they go back into survival. But there's just one problem. The blazes will not spawn. And take a wild guess what their quick fix is. Yep, they window out again. Another minute goes by. They go back to their game and they give themselves 500 blaze rods. I'm sorry, but you couldn't have done something like 12 and I don't know, tried to hide the fact that you're cheating. Well, the speedrunner continues exploring this nether fortress, perhaps in hopes of finding a bastion, but they press the chat button, revealing the chat history, showing a lot of nonsense. They tried to give themselves an unknown item, Minecraft 150. I have no idea what that is. Locating a fortress, teleporting themselves, and hang on a second. Before they gave themselves 500 blaze rods, they tried to give themselves 6,400. Why would anyone need that many? If you listen to the audio, the speedrunner is muttering to himself like a maniac, just saying, piglins, piglins, piglins. Boom, we get hit with another windowing out. And when they return to the game, the chat history says summoned new piglin, and there's a piglin in front of them. There's just one problem. They did not give themselves or find golden ingots, so they window out again, returning to the game, and their inventory is just full of so many ender pearls. This goofy speedrunner wastes so much time manually crafting blaze powder while they are heavily breathing into their microphone. Are you okay? They make their eyes of ender, and boom, again, we window out. Why am I not surprised? As soon as they return, there's just another portal in front of them. What in tarnation? They enter the nether portal, and upon returning to the overworld, their computer is so slow that they have lost the items in their inventory. They are even further and deeper into the Squidward purgatory dimension, so deep in that they begin falling into the void in creative mode. You can see the sun. They literally resort to almost going into creative mode, even though they realize they're already in creative mode, until they are literally forced to window out to fix their game. They return back to Minecraft in a completely different location. Their game looks like they have cranked up the sharpness to 9,000, and how convenient they found a village. After about a minute, they finally realize, oh wait, I'm still in creative mode, so they return back to survival. Approaching this villager, hitting it, but again, their computer is so slow that the villager is literally levitating. It's like a scene from the Matrix. Again, another window out. They return to the game. They suddenly have 11 beds in their inventory. And I know for a fact, this goofy goober is not going to know how to use those beds to kill the dragon. I would bet my channel on it. This guy is throwing his eyes of ender. The computer is so slow that there is like a 10-second delay. And after realizing their computer is so bad and so slow, it is unable to handle eyes of ender in the sky, they window out again. When they return to the game window, if I go frame by frame, it shows their previous location. And the next frame is literally the stronghold portal room. What in tarnation? The speedrunner fills the portal with eyes and they enter the end. But their computer has had it up to here with their goofy cheating. The end just does not load. They start typing game mode creative and they realize that is not going to solve the problem here. Their pickaxe is going haywire. It is bugging out. The cardinal directions on the top of the screen is like the compass in Stranger Things. What in the world? Again, they are forced to window out, return to the game, and it looks like everything is fixed now. Nope, things are not fixed. They put themselves into creative mode, and they try to toss these ender pearls into the void, but the pearls are literally floating in midair, or there are barrier blocks beneath them. I have no idea. Is the end stone invisible? I am so confused. Someone please explain this to me. They window out again. 5 minutes have gone by, and when they return to the game, they have so much health, it is covering the entire screen. There's command blocks in front of them. Not more than 5 seconds later, they have only broken a few blocks and they window out again. What more could you need at this point? I'm not really even sure what's different now. Their regeneration is going haywire. And I knew it. I said I'd bet my channel on it. The speedrunner puts the bed down in a completely wrong location. They by accident ignited, causing a huge mess. They window out again. And when they return to the game, they are in creative mode in midair, just falling. They start typing game mode survival, revealing their chat history again, showing that they used a command to make their damage set to 100,000. This guy literally would not be able to beat the education edition. They attempt beating the dragon. They can't even hit it. They get tossed around into the sky. A few minutes later, the dragon perches again. The speedrunner is hitting him by hand with end stone. They start typing a /kill command. They have no idea which command to use. Windowing out again. 2 minutes go by. They return to their game, and the dragon is just mid-death animation. How they killed the dragon, we will never know. Personally, I don't believe that they would even be able to kill the dragon cheating. I guarantee their older brother went on the computer to beat the dragon for them. I guarantee. And after beating the game, the speedrunner has a complete meltdown in their microphone to the point where they literally sound like a piglin.
We beat Minecraft! Like and subscribe for more videos!
This speedrun, oh brother, you are in for a treat. It starts off showing off emotes. What in tarnation? What timeline are we living in? Does Minecraft have emotes now? The speedrunner spawns in a village. They're selecting the 3rd slot. They already have experience points. There is a diamond shrine in front of them, and there is something going on the left side of the screen. There is only one way we're gonna find out what in tarnation is happening here. They approach this very inconspicuous diamond shrine, and underneath it is a chest with a sign that says stuff. Very original. And inside, oh yeah, there's lots of stuff. Full netherite armor and gear. Just so many diamond blocks. Why would you even need that? And a water bucket. Only the essentials. Oh man, the sword is called the Incredible Amazing Sword. Very original. And after the speedrunner gears up with their newly found legitimate loot, they approach whatever in the world this is. They enter this thing, and inside there is end stone on the ground. A pig confined behind iron bars with what appears to be a recreation of the end with a 10-cent budget. I kid you not, the next series of events are so goofy. The speedrunner climbs up to this end crystal. I am air quoting, I know you can't see me. He is unable to break the end crystal, at which point he starts using his sword and destroys the entire Hollywood set. This is a shame. This is the same set they were going to use for the Minecraft movie. What are we going to do now? The speedrunner builds back up, does a water bucket clutch for like 3 blocks down, breaking the iron bars, revealing that the pig confined behind them is the boss. Again, this speedrunner has so much originality. The speedrunner defeats the boss, exiting the end, and in front of them are 2 signs that just say, "The game you beat." They proceed to just stare into the camera and rotate endlessly. I just thought this one was stupid, that's all. The way this speedrun starts off is just so goofy, but yeah, the speedrunner starts their Walmart Great Value-esque timer. They switch tabs going into Minecraft. The speedrunner says that they just started a new Minecraft world, but come on, they are selecting the last slot on their hotbar. There is a chest just hanging out in the middle of nowhere. There's rotten flesh on the ground. Buddy, you clearly have played on this world before. And I think the worst foul here of all is the fact that they are using a tablet to play the game. Usually, I would not include a speedrun like this in my videos because it is just infuriating to watch someone play on a tablet, but this one is just so ridiculous I had to show you. Well, anyways, they approach the ruined nether portal. They open up the chest, literally unable to click on the chest. This is what I mean. Inside, netherite tools, netherite gear, enchanted golden apples. What in tarnation? And their overhyped reaction followed by silence as they slowly bring the items from the chest into the inventory is so goofy.
Oh my god, it's another right! Armor!
They spend so much time organizing their inventory, and then they waste even more time bringing the obsidian into their hotbar. This is just so painful to watch. Even their Minecraft skin has like drool all over his face. The speedrunner puts 2 obsidian blocks down, but in order to fill in the portal in the top part of it, they need to get more blocks. So they try breaking this netherrack, but they don't have a pickaxe. Despite all this cheating, they're unable to pick up any block at all. So they backtrack, picking up some dirt, literally unable to jump over a block of water. They get back to the portal. They put the dirt block down, and it's not helping them. They can't even jump onto the dirt block they just put down. So they go back over the water, getting another dirt block. And what in the world? I just noticed now. How long has that end portal been there in the distance? They get another dirt block. They go back to the portal. They literally are having difficulty jumping onto this block. And by some miracle, they do complete the nether portal. There's just one problem. They don't have flint and steel. So they turn around and gee, I wonder what this chest is doing all the way over there hanging out alone, all dressed up with nowhere to go. At which point the speedrunner vocally says, what is that chest over there? They open it up and there is no flint and steel, just ender pearls and blaze rods. And if you listen to their microphone, they don't even know what an eye of ender is. Listen to what they are saying.
Oh my god! Yes! I can make ender, I can make, ender, eye of ender.
At the speed of a snail, the speedrunner crafts blaze powder, eyes of ender, and then they slowly turn around and go, wait, is that the...
Wait, is that the ender? Whoa!
They don't even know what the portal is called. So all of this begs the question, if their goal was just to use this end portal hanging out in the middle of nowhere, what was the point of wasting all of my time going back and forth for the dirt block and then again at the speed of a snail? This goober is filling the portal with eyes. They enter the end. Unfortunately, as soon as they enter the end, they spawned underground in the end island, which means they need a pickaxe, and they're so bad at cheating that they didn't think that far ahead. At which point the speedrunner says this.
Okay, I have to go to the bathroom, guys. I'll be back.
At which point there is an awkward silence and a very sudden cut where the speedrunner suddenly has all this experience points and the dragon's health bar is just gone. The speedrunner's reaction to what happened, something they clearly did, is so fake. This is literally worse acting than a CW TV show. And yeah, just like that, the dragon is gone. They jump into the portal. They beat the game. I guess their timer malfunctioned and it said 0.3 seconds. And again, their reaction is just so goofy.
0.3 milliseconds? That's a new record. I bet Dream is so jealous of me right now. Oh my god.
This speedrun looks very normal at first. They're creating their new world. They're calling it Speedrun. The world creation looks very normal, but hang on a second. As soon as they spawn in, they are not looking straight ahead. Did you think this was gonna go over my head? The speedrunner approaches this tree and they begin breaking it. But the first log doesn't break. And then they try the next one and it doesn't break. So they go back to the first one and something is very wrong here. So the speedrunner goes up to this birch tree. They try the same thing. These trees just do not want to break. Then out of nowhere, the speedrun goes into double time like the movie Whiplash. And this time the tree does break. But when the speedrunner picks up those oak logs, they get the goofiest advancements in the entire world. Ruby and sapphire tools. What is cryorite? The recipes they unlock are going haywire at the top right of the screen. But hold on, if I want to analyze this garbage speedrun, I'm gonna have to slow it down. They break another tree, getting more logs, building a crafting table, some sticks, and wooden tools. At which point the speedrun goes back into normal time, and they show off their extreme agility and skill by being unable to kill this pig. Buddy, have you ever played this game before? I do not think so. We're back into double time. The speedrunner digs down and they get some cobblestone. But as soon as they return to the surface, there is the goofiest Star Wars wipe transition on the screen. What, did George Lucas co-direct this speedrun? And as soon as they turn around, they find an iron jungle temple. Yeah, the iMovie style text is just the icing on the cake here. After a very sudden cut, a whole 2 minutes later, and it looks like the speedrunner just crafted a stone pickaxe. So they break these iron blocks, guessing the key code combination to the iron jungle temple, and behind the doors are diamond blocks. Why am I not surprised? surprised. There's just one problem here. The speedrunner cannot mine diamond blocks with a stone pickaxe. So don't ask me why, but they just begin mining these iron blocks with a wooden pickaxe. What in tarnation? That's even worse. Then there is a very sudden cut, revealing some really strange items on the left side of their screen. That literally looks like a block that would be in one of my thumbnails. Well, the speedrunner ends up making an iron bucket, an iron pickaxe, and an iron sword, going back into the temple to mine these diamond blocks. And do not ask me why. It is broad daylight and they consume a potion of night vision. Again, I don't think this goofy goober has ever played this game before. Well, the speedrunner tries to pull a fast one on us, making a very sly cut where they're just in a completely different location and they're breaking their crafting table with an iron pickaxe. This is painful to watch. So after aimlessly wandering around in broad daylight with night vision, there is another sudden cut that jumps ahead a whole minute and the speedrunner is in front of, I kid you not, an iron temple. What in tarnation? After nearly dying to 2 creepers with half a heart left, the speedrunner breaks this block and the next frame, they suddenly have every status effect in the book. Strength a jillion billion. So the speedrunner drops down this hole, they fail the water bucket clutch, and inside these chests is exactly what you'd expect. I quote, lots of OP items. And I know you can't see me right now, but I'm air quoting. I kid you not, the speedrunner literally wastes 2 whole minutes organizing their inventory in double time, at which point they discover a village, entering a villager's house that has nothing in it until there's another sudden cut and the speedrunner is just menacingly watching over this villager while he sleeps, breaking his bed and evicting him. Boom, another sudden cut. We are a whole minute later. The speedrunner is flying around in the sky like a goofy goober, and boom, another cut. They are underground now in a mine shaft, and not more than a few seconds later, and boom, another cut. They find themselves in a hallway just full of cobwebs, and I do not think they understand how to break cobwebs. Buddy, have you ever played this game before? So they just dig beneath them, and while they have wasted 15 minutes of my time, they have the gabagools to ask us to subscribe, and right after that, there's another cut. 3 whole minutes later. I am failing to understand what is the purpose of these side quests. I am just so confused. This guy is hopping around like he's floating on water. Someone needs to explain this to me. And he finds a diamond mansion. The speedrunner proceeds to, by accident, attack the illagers, nearly dying, until there is another sudden cut. They put down a furnace, and they're just wasting precious speedrun time cooking pork chops. Guys, I don't know. I think I'm being punked right now. After 2 whole minutes of cooking pork chops, there's another cut 5 whole minutes later, and the speedrunner is just in front of a ruined nether portal with 2 obsidian blocks in front of them on the ground. Just enough blocks to fill in the portal and light it. So they light the portal, entering the nether, and what in tarnation is that? The speedrunner just starts going crazy, mining every block in front of them until there's another sudden cut. We skip ahead almost 2 whole minutes, and they found a diamond fortress. Oh, brother. But while they are in this diamond fortress, there is a blaze right in front of them. They need blaze rods, right? But instead, the speedrunner decides to attack the zombified piglins, making them very angry. They run away, nearly dying. Then they just jump off of this cliff, again, nearly dying, until another sudden cut where it is 2 whole minutes later, and they're just standing in front of a nether portal with 2 hearts. I don't know how much longer I can watch this. If you thought it couldn't get worse, it does. When they return to the overworld, their portal spawns in the middle of nowhere above the ocean, so they jump into the ocean when they make another obvious cut, and they just happen to, oh, I don't know, be in a boat now. How convenient. If you are making a movie anytime soon, do not let this guy make the cuts. This guy must be Tommy Wiseau and Neil Breen's editor. I don't know. Well, everything seems normal now. Nope, I spoke too soon. 2 whole minutes later, and they're just falling into a cave. Yep. Why am I not surprised? They found the iron stronghold. So after wasting a lot of time trying to find the portal room, they find themselves in a dead end. They have a total temper tantrum, breaking blocks in front of them, and now they're typing game mode creative. So the speedrunner has now been playing the game for 38 minutes. They are in creative mode. They attempt to create the end portal, emphasis on attempt. Oh, this is just so sad. They fill the eyes, and they finally get to the end in world record time. Literally unable to jump up a set of blocks. There is another cut. They're in creative mode. There's another cut. They're in survival mode, and after wasting another whole minute, they probably have strength a billion jillion. The dragon perches for probably 1 second. They're unable to kill the dragon. We can't see its health bar because it's being covered by this ginormous lime green timer. And after another minute, when the dragon finally perches again, don't ask me how or why, but the speedrunner by accident throws their sword. Whoops. But the dragon is still taking damage and somehow dies. Someone is gonna have to explain that one to me. So yes, the speedrunner gets away with the Guinness World Record for longest amount of time taken to speedrun Minecraft. 41 minutes is true dedication. This speedrun, oh brother, you are in for a treat. Their Minecraft skin is a sheep with sunglasses and a businessman suit. Who is this, Jay Schlatt playing? Their timer is literally humongous. It is a monstrosity on the screen. And they have a stick. This is very promising. Right off the bat, the speedrunner goes up to a tree, they break it, getting 1 oak log, then they make a crafting table and they put it down. But as soon as they put that crafting table down, it says set on game mode to survival. And when they turn around, there's just 256 oak logs hanging out behind them. How convenient. So the speedrunner makes a wooden pickaxe and a wooden sword, and now they're just in creative mode, literally floating around. And then if I go frame by frame, their timer just jumps up by 15 seconds for no particular reason. And then directly after that, there is a sudden cut where they're just in front of a village. So what I think they were doing is that their timer is actually a video that they're cutting, but they just didn't make the cuts at the same time. I don't know. So the speedrunner suddenly puts themselves back into survival mode after by accident taking 2 screenshots. Then they go into this villager house. And of course, there is another cut. Guys, I know this speedrun is fake, but the end of it is just so ridiculous I had to show it to you. Yeah, in the chest, there's full netherite armor, full netherite tools, whoop-de-doo-dah. The speedrunner is then just in spectator mode. Oh my goodness, do you have no shame? They put themselves into survival mode, then they're in creative mode, and then yeah, the speedrunner says they found this really cool glitch where you're able to find nether portals instantly.
But I found this really cool glitch. It allows you to basically find nether portals like almost instantly.
That is followed by a very sudden cut where they just built a nether portal in front of them and lit it. Yeah, what a cool glitch, buddy. So the speedrunner is now in the nether, at which point the speedrunner begins typing a /locate command, followed by another sudden cut. The chat log says that they were teleported to these coordinates. They're in front of a nether fortress now, but honestly, this speedrunner's video recording software is so bad, it is so dark you cannot see a single thing. In a nutshell, the speedrunner whacks at 2 blaze rods in creative mode. There's another cut, and then they just drop a bunch of blaze rods in creative mode. I mean, this is just so shamelessly fake. But wait until you see the end. The speedrunner uses a /give command to give themselves eyes of ender. The speedrunner is still in creative mode. They are building a nether portal. This guy does not understand what a rectangle is, like many other fake speedrunners. Buddy, that is a square. When the speedrunner returns to the overworld, they find themselves in the same forest that Herobrine might inhabit. What in tarnation? This speedrunner is 5 minutes into their run, and a professional speedrunner would have probably beaten the game by now. But this goofy goober is locating the stronghold with commands and teleporting themselves to it. They are in spectator mode, and they are still unable to find the portal room. This is just so hilarious. So they fill the portal with eyes. I am honestly not surprised that they haven't died in creative mode yet. This guy would probably find a way to do that. Well, when in the end, the speedrunner has the F3 screen plastered all over their video, on top of their monstrosity of a timer, and underneath all of that garbage, you can see a lot of TNT. Yeah, this goober spawned in 22,000 blocks of TNT, nearly crashing their computer, and they still did not kill the Ender Dragon. And yeah, just like that, the speedrunner beat the game in a world record. Well, hang on a second. Their timer stopped at 9 minutes and 12 seconds, but they did not enter the portal yet. Then their game freezes, and you can hear the speedrunner say this.
Wait, what's going on?
Yeah, there is a flash of light, the speedrunner's timer is gone, and they have been brought to the dark dimension to face off with Dormammu. I don't know what is happening here. Nope, never mind, that's not Dormammu, that is the speedrun master. And this terrifying entity decides whether or not speedruns are legitimate. Yeah, well, the speedrun master deemed this speedrun fake, and I guess the speedrunner will not be able to escape their fate, which is being banished to eternal torture. Yeah, the speedrunner literally wakes up in a prison cell with skull and bones, and when they turn around, it's It's just a video of a cat bobbing his head back and forth. I guess if you don't like cats, that's considered torture? I don't know. Anyways, I just thought this one was ridiculously goofy, so I wanted to show it to you. This speedrunner spawns in the middle of a forest with a lava pool next to him. Holy cow. And would you look at that, they turn around and there's a village in front of them. Very, very lucky. So the speedrunner breaks the window of a villager house, jumping in, opening a chest, and finding very, very good loot. But before they can even take all of the loot, they get punched out of the window by a villager. So after being caught red-handed, the speedrunner resorts to breaking a tree. They make a crafting table, using their iron ingots to make an iron bucket, and they collect some water with it. Then, with just so much skill, the speedrunner begins crafting a nether portal. They break some gravel and get a flint, and just like that, they light their nether portal and enter the nether. And this speedrunner is very, very lucky. They spawn into the nether right outside of a fortress. So the speedrunner starts bridging over to a blaze spawner until a ghast shoots a fireball at them. The speedrunner panics, and they get knocked off of their bridge. But it's okay, not all is lost. The speedrunner is still alive. Yep, nope, never mind. He is dead. He is out like a light. The speedrunner wakes up in the overworld right next to the great Master Oogway, at which point Master Oogway says something very, very inspirational. Noodles. Nah, I'm just kidding. He actually says some very inspirational things. At which point we realize it was just the speedrunner up in his own head, having some flashbacks, and he gets up and dusts off the dust, and the speedrunner picks himself back up. Suddenly, the speedrunner taps into his training from Master Oogway, and he harnesses the power of the ghast to destroy all of the endermen and destroy the ghasts. The speedrunner picks up those ender pearls, and then they start climbing up the nether fortress, literally performing kung fu on these blazes. So after getting as many blaze rods as the speedrunner needs, they craft Eyes of Ender. And now that they're in the overworld, they locate the stronghold, entering the portal room and filling the portal with eyes. But hang on a second, why does the speedrunner only have cookies and rockets? Yeah, the speedrunner just launches themselves all over the end, breaking all of the end crystals until their rockets run out and they are forced to do a water bucket clutch, at which point you will not believe what the speedrunner does to destroy the ender dragon. It is amazing. And yeah, just like that, the speedrunner beat Minecraft in a world record 3 minutes and 8 seconds. I cannot believe it. This speedrun starts off, and I already have anxiety about it. There's a ton of stuff going on the bottom right of the screen. Bats screeching, slime squishing. They just put themselves into survival mode. I'm sorry, but how many villagers are just trapped in that well ahead of them? On top of all of that, what in tarnation is that floating in the sky? I have so many questions, and don't worry, they're all gonna be answered. Well, the speedrunner enters this blacksmith house, and they get 2 diamonds, an iron chest plate, and an iron sword. The speedrunner stops to type in the chat box, "Wow, so rare." Nope, never mind, they correct it, rare. But then they delete it again and misspell it on the 3rd try. What in tarnation? They open up another chest, and they get some saplings, some bread, a saddle, some obsidian. Very rare indeed. Things just continue to get worse. In front of them is the most goofy looking ruined nether portal I have ever seen, right next to just an end portal hanging out in front of them. Yeah, it's just sitting there. At which point the speedrunner starts typing in chat, OMG, 1 in 100 million. They open up the ruined nether portal chest, finding a golden sword with looting 255 and 16 ender pearls. And you know what? I'm gonna be honest, I have been so distracted by all of this goofiness that I just realized, is this a super flat world? Well, as soon as the speedrunner enters the nether, they are in the middle of a lava lake, but right next to them is a blaze spawner. And the speedrunner points this out by typing the spawner glitched. Buddy, how in the world does a glitch explain this? Well, yeah, the speedrunner attempts fighting these blaze while their game is running at a solid 3 frames per second, at which point they just die, respawning underneath. I don't even know what I'm looking at right now. The speedrunner goes into creative mode, and now I realize, did they spawn a deep dark city above ground? I am so confused. Yep, that is in fact a deep dark city. And after about 30 seconds of being in creative mode, they finally type in chat, OMG, I just got given creative mode by Notch. They're back in the nether, collecting all of the items they dropped when they died, and their game is back at a solid 3 frames per second. This goofy goober is wasting so much time typing a /give command to get a golden sword with the enchantment Etet. I have no idea what Etet is. Someone help me out here, I am losing my mind. The speedrunner starts typing, what? Why did it, it worked. And then they give themselves 64 blaze rods and full netherite armor. OMG, Notch just gave me netherite. Buddy, you know we can see you in creative mode, right? The speedrunner starts typing in chat, the pearls in all caps. Then they just give themselves pearls in creative mode, putting themselves back into survival mode. They craft blaze powder, they craft eyes of ender, and they fill this portal and enter the end. So the real question is, there is like 5 more minutes left of the speed run. This guy is cheating out of the wazoo. How does it take him 5 minutes to beat the game? Well, I'll tell you, the speedrunner starts typing, aha, there it is, followed by them giving themselves an elytra and 64 rockets and 64 enchanted golden apples. There what is? This ridiculously blatant cheating? Yeah, and just like that, the speedrunner beat the game. Listen, I know this one is so clearly fake. It was just ridiculously goofy. This speedrun starts off and everything seems very normal. I don't know what it is, but the intro is very nostalgic with the Minecraft piano and this super low quality microphone.
Okay, my new speedrun world.
The speedrunner starts off and everything is looking very normal. They spawn in a birch forest, they turn around and oh, would you look at that? It's a ruined nether portal. How lucky are they? Nope, hang on a second. That is not a ruined nether portal. Just listen to what this goober is saying.
Oh, no way! For the new 1.20 update, they added a new trial ruined nether portal.
Okay, so they found the trial ruined nether portal, the newest 1.21 update. I'm a little out of the loop here, but I guess this is a new update. They open up the chest, they find a breeze rod, a heavy core, obsidian, golden chest plate, and it sounds weird to say, but yeah, a breeze rod is now a part of the game. So the speedrunner does craft the mace, one of the new legitimate Minecraft weapons. And yeah, blah blah blah. They got enough obsidian to fill the portal, light it, and enter the nether. Everything is looking very normal here. The nether loading screen looks good. They spawn in, everything looks good until they turn around. What in tarnation is that? Yeah, according to the speedrunner, after their freak out, they call this the new Basalt Village. Can someone do a fact check? Is this actually a new update to 1.21? And I just need to point out, I love the fact that they are going so far to act for this, that they have the courtesy of opening the gate and closing it behind them. So they enter this Basalt Village house, opening the ender chest, finding full netherite gear. How convenient. And their reaction is just ridiculous.
No way, a blacksmith! Oh my god!
After they discover this amazing loot, they waste like a whole minute reorganizing their inventory. This is just ridiculous. They enter another building, which according to them is supposed to be the blacksmith or weaponsmith equivalent, and they call it the totem smith. But the villager in the totem smith house is literally a farmer. The speedrunner opens up the chests, revealing a bunch of totems of undying, more totems of undying, and seeds?
The wheat seed, the rarest item in the game.
I have no idea why this speedrunner is freaking out about seeds. Can someone help me to understand here? There are a lot of new features here. The vault garden with 64 trial keys in a chest. Okay, hold it right here. Hear me out. This is actually a very creative and silly way of cheating. I'm just gonna put that out there. Alright, enough of this nonsense. The speedrunner enters into the end portal. Whether this is legitimate or not, I have no idea. Never mind, I take that back. They spawn into the end and there are blocks leading to the end island. This is not legitimate. And if you thought this couldn't get any worse, it does. The speedrunner is doing all of this goofy parkour. They have a minecart track that leads into the end portal. The dragon is dead. They're saying trick shot in their microphone, but they miss. They don't get into the minecart. And yeah, just like that, they beat the game. This was such a ridiculous speedrun. They're yapping in their microphone about how this is record time, but buddy, there is no timer on your screen.